Testing out new suspension, Stephen Crockett and Martin Henderson took their second in class of the season in their 205. Making it 3 wins out of 3, Neil Coulter and Hannah Sesford dominated the class in the Corsa Engine Ignis to the tune of 6 minutes. It wasn't without problems, however, a sticking handbrake and a couple of stalls keeping them on their toes. After retiring on the border, David McLaughlin and Graham Robertson were relieved to grab 4th in class at the finish. Third on their first event of the season, the Peacocks were having an adventurous day, dodging a deer in the morning before spinning off backwards on the last stage, thankfully in front of some very helpful spectators. Lucky to finish it all after the alternator packed up on the final road section, Andy Chalmers and Martin McCabe managed to push their 205 over the finish line into second. Another to go off on the final stage, those same helpful spectators rescued Robbie Beattie and Dave Finlay on their way to their second class win of the season. It was a rough day for Alex Pirrie and Fraser Skeen, struggling with punctures and 5 minutes of road penalties after a clutch change at first service. Ross Hughes and Neil Ewing suffered a catalogue of dramas. Both front shocks were changed and there was an off in SS9. Then the car cut out while on the rev limiter in 5th on the final stage. I think the phrase is character building. Andy Struthers and Alistair McElroy were 9th in class at the finish, the young driver declaring that he thought it was his best drive to date in the forests. About 3 corners into the event, Jim Robertson discovered that he had a problem. One of the seat mountings had broken and he was looking out of the car at a strange angle. This left him and co-driver Mike Curry well back in the standings before a charge, now with a properly fixed seating position, saw them climb back up to 8th. 7th and taking the Accost Challenge honours, it was a fantastic drive for Gina Walker and Richard Simmons, especially when you consider the spec of the cars up ahead of them in the class. It was a rough day at the office for Thomas Gray and Jane Nicholl, the Fiesta finishing with severely bent suspension after a meeting with some rocks. He did, however, give the spectators a show in Cooper Park. Just watch this slide. On their first event since rolling on the Galloway Hills, Scott Beattie and Cammy Fair had the Sunbeam back looking better than ever, and they finished as sideways 5th. Finally finishing an event in 2017, Keith and Mary Riddick nevertheless had another one of those character building days. The clutch was leaking all day and they had to change the alternator after Cooper Park. There was also a massive moment in 6th gear, but don't tell their dad Mike, he doesn't know. Except now he does. Sorry about that one, Keith. You can blame Mary, she told us about it at service. At the top of the class there was a titanic battle between 3 young hotshots. Scott Macbeth's new C2 was initially fending off the 208 of Marty Gallagher and the Corsa of Angus Laurie. Then the C2 slowed a misfire, pegging it back, allowing Marty to lead by 8 seconds at second service. Scott and Angus, however, they were tied for second.
Yes, very, very tight. We got a wrong time for stage 5, the one after service. so it put us 12 seconds slower than we actually were, so we're trying to get that sorted now, but it's tight alright now. It's 1 second, 2 second every stage there, so I think we took a bit off them there in that last one, but there's still 3 stages to go, like, and it can happen.
Yeah, happy enough with that, and then that last stage didn't gel with it at all. It was just fast and it was slow and it was fast, so I don't know, keep going, we'll get to the end. It's misfiring still.
Is it still misfiring? I was going to ask you.
Yeah, it's not happy, so.
And is it all the time, or is it just after?
As you're going up the revs, first into second seems okay, and then third, fourth, fifth, you can just heat it, splitting away, so. Yeah, happy enough, you know, it's been a long time out of a two-wheel drive, so still smiling.
But no, it's been good. First stage, very, very slippy for us. Trying to get traction is the biggest problem. Really, really fast stages, commitments, the key, but no, need to pull the finger out this afternoon, I think. Good. No stopping light, new tyres are on, so we're going for it. We're not here to make numbers up.
It's only a second.
Over the final loop, Marty and co-driver Dino Sullivan backed off, probably with one eye on the Pirelli the following weekend. This allowed Angus and Paul Gribben to grab second in the class by only 1 second from the 208. With every possible electrical component changed, Macbeth and co-driver Daniel Forsyth drove the wheels off the Citroen to take the class win by just 2 seconds, and top junior driver after a fantastic battle.
Interesting, a lot of fun. Car hasn't been going right all day. I've had a puncture, the multi-belt's broken, so I haven't had power steering. Didn't think we were going to make it back here, to be honest. Thought I was going to die with no alternator. But no, I think Gartley the second time, so that's made my year, I think. Some run through that, like.
Yeah, good eye, home events, so can't ask for more to win the class, you know, and finally put all these wee niggles behind us and not finishing, you know. Okay, a few problems, but to get to the finish, it's good.
Yeah, so you can bragging rights in Elgin tonight then.
I think so. I'll maybe have a beer or two tonight to celebrate.
Scott, a bit of frustrating time with the Evo, which you decided to get rid of, and hey, today's shown that was a good decision.
Yeah, definitely. Like, even if I had a clean rally today in Evo, I don't think we would have come out with as happy as we are. You know, the wee car is so much fun to drive, and there's a lot more to come out of it. Dan was brilliant on the notes with Gartley. I think he could have read much quicker, but no, it was good. Really, really good.
Taking third in the big engine 205, Scott McQueen said his driving was getting better with each round. He only managed to put it off once all day. Paddy and Chris Munro were lucky to see the finish after an oil leak, a friendly farmer giving them a much needed top up on the final road section. Making it 3 class wins in a row were Fraser McNichol and Keith Boa. Although finishing with only third gear was a bit of a concern, they are still in love with rear wheel drive. It was another class win for the historic escort of Ian and Sandy Milne. A couple of spins and an overshoot were the only issues for Michael Renton and Kenny Fogo in the 306, grabbing third in class. Finishing the day with no brakes, Scott Burness managed his first finish of the year in second. Taking the class by almost 4 minutes, it was almost a trouble-free day for Luke McLaren and Phil Kenny in the Fiesta, making it 3 class wins out of 3. The only non-Ford crew in the class, John Brownie and Gordon Ritchie, survived an off in SS9 to take their first finish of the year in 6th. Having a day to forget, Duncan MacDonald and Neil Ross suffered a major setback when the exhaust manifold melted large chunks of the wiring loom. They struggled home to 5th in class. The trip over from Ireland was worth it once again for Paul McElwain and Niall McKenna, with a solid 4th in class at the finish. On a charge early on, Michael Stewart and Sinclair Young were actually lying third in the Challenger standings after 4 stages, ahead of eventual winner John Wink's Evo 9. Unfortunately, things took a dip in the afternoon with a fuel leak and this moment. Nevertheless, third in class and a drive that made everybody sit up and take notice made it a day to remember. At the head of the class there was a huge battle for overall two-wheel drive honours. Quinton Milne and Dougal Brown were slugging it out at the top like a pair of prize fighters. The decisive moments came in SS4. Milne had an overshoot, but Brown had suffered more with a broken clutch cable. Charging back, the orange Escort then broke a rear damper, curtailing any thoughts of a fight back from Brown and Rochford. This left Milne and Donnelly with a 40-second margin by the finish, which doesn't really reflect how good the battle actually was. What was clear is that there are no tyres that will fit in the back of an Escort left in Elgin.
Cracking day, another fantastic event run by the 63 Club in changeable weather, but we're all lucky it was pretty dry. Went through a load of rear tyres as usual with the old Escort and had a great fight with Dougal. I mean, he actually had a cable problem, but we were swapping just a couple of seconds. Then I took a chunk out of him, and he would have done the same to me later on, I'm sure. But to come away again like the Galloway Hills and have a top result, no damage, and be on the lock stops is all we can hope for. So yeah, there's no more fun to be had than an Escort. It's way more fun than a four-wheel drive.
Ken Wood is about to find out that he has a puncture. This display in Cooper Park in front of so many spectators made the Big Dolomite a bit of a star on Facebook videos. Ken and Gordon sliding their way to another maximum points haul in the class and 32nd overall. Next up is the RSAC Scottish Rally, where Dougal Brown and Lewis Rochford will be looking to consolidate their lead in the Clubman's Two-Wheel Drive Championship ahead of the improving Michael Stewart.